What happened to the love we knew and the way we cared back then? Prophecies are coming true.
This is a question that we really must address if we are to move to a new normal. You know, there's a lot of talk about returning to the old normal after COVID, but we really don't want to return to a normal, do we? Where in the wealthy United States, for example, 1/4 of all children lived in poverty.
Well, one of the topics that I wanted to speak on today is how do we really fit in within this economical system as Indigenous peoples? Because if you really have to look at it within a global context, the Indigenous peoples make up the greater portion of the world, if not the entirety of the world.
Thank you for creating space for circles of women to come together. I really believe that women rising and women gathering is one of the most potent solutions we have right now to a lot of interlocking issues that the whole planet is facing. So thank you for that.
Gendercide is more properly called female genocide. That's the academic term, but both terms refer to the worldwide elimination of females from very young to very old due to social causes. In other words, not due to natural causes. This is a man-made problem. And whenever we talk about
offering more opportunities to all the girls, as you know, so they can break the cycle of poverty and build a bright future. Educating a girl is educating a community.
I would like to mention is that how we treat ourselves, we treat our Mother Earth. And our Mother Earth continues to give us life. And we need to understand about living in harmony and balance with each other and the natural world. Because if we don't have respect for the natural world, we're not going to have respect for one another. And
when it comes to women, they say women hold up half the sky. But I would say they do that with just one finger because we're so busy doing everything else.
And if we realized that yes, you can bring women to the table to speak about their own issues, but we continue hiding behind the fact that women are ailing, women are lacking, women are living in poverty. And as I came to this meeting, I called women that I know who lived deep poverty when we started Roots Kenya. Today, they are supporting other women, but they are able to feed their family. They've gone back to school, have done diplomas.
And I'm finding that at this age that is happening for me, and it's spiritually rejuvenating. And it's reminding me of the need for us to connect across our international context. Those of us in the United States can get quite isolated because of the way our culture functions and the way empires function. And so to be connected is extremely empowering and spiritually rejuvenating, but also powerful because we can build movements together. And it's really...
It is also getting those people that you believe are transformed, that are good leaders, can lead, to be the one taking those positions. And it requires a lot of resources.
And at that time, we were told that this was the time where the solar calendar, the masculine being the solar, and it was turning into the lunar calendar, the time of the moon, the time of women. And that in that ceremony, the women were given charge of the fire, the sacred fire. That fire was prepared.
And for the last 10 years or so, even when I was a student, I have dedicated my life to try and transform my community a day at a time, a child at a time. And one of the things that I know is there have been a lot of debates on, like daughters. And there's an African saying that says that a home without daughters is like a river without a source. if we needed to like get the source right so that the river can flow. And so how do we go about
and I began to understand that all the challenges that we face as a species throughout the world can be seen as an imbalance of the masculine and the feminine. And that now is the time that we need to shift that balance, which is why I'm grateful for Sarah's
very patient with me.
work.
And when I sat before the chiefs of the Confederacy and said, I'm here because there's a moral obligation that by far outweighs anything else. I could have been one of them, one of the women that didn't come home to her family.
No reproductive rights. We end up with too many trees, too many people, not enough trees, global warming, and we have about 3 more decades to turn it back. And this liminal time, while we are here, sheltering in place, we have the opportunity to turn back the direction we were headed in, to save the trees, to give women equality and reproductive rights so that the children are wanted and the trees are wanted, and we managed to survive this global warming.
In this moment, we may be staring at a computer screen or a phone screen, but there is a wildly intimate, extraordinary, connected, erotic, natural world that is in extraordinary relationship with everything, and it is fully aware of us. The trees are breathing.
The changes will not come when we have internalized the namings and markings of our society, so that even as a woman, I don't believe another woman can lead. So my message was to change that systemic conditioning and programming that we have gotten as women in my community.
If you really want to create societal change, you seek out the women and the women leaders and elders and wisdom keepers, for they are truly the representatives of the divine feminine that sits on the beauty of the throne of our engagement in the heavenly realms, in the earthly realms, and in all realms, as that powerful force of bringing self-awareness and prioritizing our personal development, to focus on developing ourselves and others, and encourage our strategic thinking, innovation, and action as represented in the work that we do. And at all times, that this feminine principle is based and well-grounded in ethics and the principles and values that were so beautifully expressed. And it is important to list our values, but as Karambu had indicated, the underlying foundation is that power of love, the love that is generated within our hearts and that joins us.
And I'm seeing some familiar faces and new faces, and whenever we meet with sisters and brothers in consciousness, for me, that's the prayer. That's the beginning of any prayer, any ceremony. So what an honor.
Of wondering where to go, love and hatred filled my being, torn in this world of woe.
Some young people today really get it, and they have managed to come through the systems with clarity and insist, because a number of them see that there is no future for them. They have no illusion that the system is not going to enable them to get a house and live to a ripe old age and get Social Security. I mean, they see it clearly that there has to be a brand new reality starting now. And so it's an interesting dilemma to think about how to really listen and support that youth leadership, and at the same time, and work in partnership with youth to support changes in education, because it's got to be a process of change. It's paradoxically, we can't just decide what the new education is going to be. So there's a fair amount of listening and a fair amount of truth telling going on, and a bunch of it is coming from younger people, which is great.
You called us from the 4 directions, and we come to you as our grandmothers of the 4 directions call upon us. It is the spirit of the feminine right now, beloved mother, that is needed. It's needed to change all of this uncertainty, all of this that is going on, that it is so out of balance right now. You have called us and we have come. We have discussed, we have prayed, we have done ceremony, and we are sitting here at the table to continue our dialogue for the future of all of the children of the world, beloved Creator. We are the givers of life. And I thank you, beloved Mother, for standing always with us and reminding us that we are the givers of life. In the name of all of the children of the future, I thank you.
And in our darkest hour, we will not be afraid. When others lose their way, we will rise up. We will rise up. We will rise up and see the way.